The following video contains footage from the Endwalker Media Tour. As such, this footage is not representative of the final product, and you will find significant differences both visually and elsewhere. I do remind you, please do not take this as the final version, but at the same time, thank you to Square Enix for providing me with this opportunity, and I hope you enjoy this. So first off then, talking about Astrologian. Astrologian then steps up to its sort of new territory of being a pure healer, which essentially is just meaning that this is going to be a diurnal aspected astrologian. So nocturnal sect, etc., gone, basically. You can think of your shields, all of those lovely shields, as gone. Effectively, they've just gauged it towards that diurnal sort of aspect. So that's the first thing to bear in mind. There are actually 4 new abilities. Of course, we have ourselves Macrocosmos, which we'll look at in just a minute, as well as Exultation, Gravity 2, obviously, and Full Malefic. All of those are new, those new 4 abilities. Obviously, some of those are just ranks, but we need to have a look at those in the tooltips. I've ran out of footage I can really use, and I don't want to use what I've got remaining on this, but I will say that when I played Astrologian, it played very familiarly, and I don't think there's majorly that many differences, but let's go through those tooltips without further ado. Astrologian's tooltips then. So most spells now you'll see fit the 2.44 second recast timer, and there are no changes to many of them, like overall. So let's look at these changes and then new additions. We'll read some potency changes, but for the most part, this is how it's been done across all the healers. There's been some nerfs and some buffs. It really doesn't make much sense until we actually get in there and compare it to the other things, and everything's going to change quite drastically, potentially, from now up until launch. They did say this isn't final, and not to dwell on those numbers, as there is no likelihood that they'll, guarantee to stay the same way. So take everything with a pinch of salt. So in terms of Astro's stuff then, most of it is pretty much the same. It's kind of like an evolution or a step upwards. So let's just talk about some of the stuff then. Benefic's potency is now 500 up from 400. Helios has a cure potency of 400 up from 330. Benefic 2 has a potency of 800 now, up from 700. But let's move on to the things that have changed. Draw has changed. Now it draws a card from your deck as usual, but now restores 5% of your maximum MP and grants the buff of Clarifying Draw. This allows the execution of redraw and has a maximum of 2 charges. You'll remember previously then on live servers, this used to grant 8% of your max MP restoration as well. Diurnal and Nocturnal are just gone. You don't have buttons for those anymore because you're just always diurnal, basically. That's the way that they've made it fit the pure healer role. Aspected Benefic now has a cure potency of 250 and the regen effect from that up to 250. Both of those were previously just 200 potency on live. Redraw lost its maximum charges of 3 and now has a recast timer of 1 second. It's instant cast and draws a different arcanum from your deck, but now can only be executed while under the effect of that Clarifying Draw, that new buff from, of course, pressing draw. Aspected Helios as a 250 cure potency now, with the regen of that having a 150 potency, both up 50 potency from live. Gravity had a reduction in potency down to 120 from the 140 previously we have on live servers. Then we have Divination, which now increases damage dealt by self and nearby party members by 6% for 15 seconds. This, because of Arcana seals being removed, no longer requires them. It's now free to use every 120 seconds, which I think is much simpler. At level 50 then you have a new skill called Astrodyne. This grants an effect using the Astro signs read from your divining deck. This can only be executed after reading 3 of those Astro signs. The effects granted are determined by the number of different types of Astro signs read, So 1 sign type grants Harmony of Spirit, 2 sign types grants Harmony of Spirit and Harmony of Body, and 3 sign types grant harmonies of spirit, body, and mind. These last for 15 seconds. So what they do, Harmony of Spirit restores your own MP with a potency of 60. Harmony of Body reduces spell cast time and recast time and auto attack delay by 10%. And Harmony of Mind increases damage dealt and your healing potency by 5%. All in all, quite an interesting set of self buffs. So Collective Unconsciousness, this changed because of the removal of sects. Literally, it's pretty much the same with the same potencies, but now the nocturnal part of it is removed entirely, and you'll see this for a lot of the other spells as well. And only what this used to be, so like for the diurnal effect, i.e. the regen is here, but there are no more shields for Collective Unconscious. It's just pure regen. Minor Arcana is now available at level 70. This used to be available at level 50, and this is now a button to draw a Lord of Crowns or Lady of Crowns from your Divining deck. This is on a 60-second recast timer, and the Arcanum effect can now be triggered using the action Crown Play. So Sleeve Draw is gone, removed from the game. We now have Crown Play at level 70, and this triggers the effect of your drawn Arcanum. So that's how that works now. Combust 3 has a potency change of down to 55 from the previous 60. Malefic 4 is down to 230 potency from the 250 on live. Celestial Intersection no longer has the nocturnal stuff available, as nocturnal no longer exists, obviously, and now has 2 maximum charges you can use, which is interesting. Neutral Sext still exists at level 80. This now increases healing and magic potency by 20% as it did before, but now states that when you cast Aspected Benefic or Aspected Helios, during this it erects a magic barrier that nullifies damage. The Aspected Benefic effect nullifies damage equal to 250% of the amount of HP restored, and the Aspected Helios effect says that it nullifies damage equal to 125% of the amount of health restored, both then for 20 seconds. Right, so now we're on to the new spells. Fall Malefic is available at level 82. This is a 2.44 second recast timer, casted damage ability, dealing unaspected damage with a potency of 250. It is basically what Malefic Fall ranks up to at level 82, turns into Fall Malefic. Not sure why we didn't get Malefic 5, but this is basically Malefic 5. Then we have Gravity 2. This deals unaspected damage with a potency of 130 to the target and all nearby enemies to it. It also looks and sounds awesome in the game. They've really worked on the visuals and sound for this ability. This is a rank up from Gravity 1 to Gravity 2, available at level 82. Exultation then, this is an instant cast 60-second recast timer spell, reducing damage taken by yourself or party member that you target by 10% for 8 seconds. This also restores health at the end of the effect's duration for a potency of 500 based heal. Pretty nice, to be honest. This is available at level 86 and is just a really, really nice shield, isn't it? And finally, Macrocosmos. This is available at level 90, our new 120-second cooldown, dealing unaspected damage to all nearby enemies with a potency of 250 for the first enemy and 50% less for all remaining enemies. This is what you saw in the job action trailer with the meteors falling from the sky. Very cool stuff. This has the additional effect of applying Macrocosmos to self and all nearby party members for 50 seconds as a buff. This action changes to Microcosmos upon its execution. So for the effect's duration, 50% of the damage taken by you and your party members is compiled, and then it restores health equal to the compiled damage when this effect expires, or when you actually press the button again, which has obviously changed on your bars to Microcosmos. So you pop Macrocosmos, and then you can press it or leave it, and when it expires, you get 50% of that damage compiled. The amount restored then, when that expires or when you press a button, cannot exceed the target's maximum health. So, albeit with a cap, it is actually a really, really cool ability. I like the idea of compiling that damage and like sort of nullifying it, calculating that into a heal, and then just exploding that at your own button press, or of course waiting for that to expire. But also at the same time doing an insane amount of damage well, not an insane amount, but a decent amount of damage. Very visually pretty as well, with those stars falling on the enemy. Kind of like Starfall from World of Warcraft, actually, on my druid. So yeah, it's a bit of a boomkin spell. I love it. Very nice. And it sounds awesome, looks awesome. The Astrologian Signs pretty much do the same, as you can see down here, balance, etc. Now, only Lord and Lady of the Crowns is available at level 70, as they used to be at level 50. So let's move on to the traits then, new or changed ones. So Magic and Mend is the same thing, just called Maim and Mend now. It's just been renamed. This is also had Enhanced Draw. This basically grants that clarifying draw buff after pressing draw. That's new. Enhanced Draw 2 as well, granting a solar sign, lunar sign, or celestial sign according to your arcanum played in combat. Malefic Mastery 4 then, so at level 82, Malefic 4 swaps out for the new Fall Malefic spell, as we said before. Gravity Mastery at level 82, ranking up your Gravity to Gravity 2. Enhanced Healing Magic at level 85. This trait raises the potency of Benefic to 500, Helios to 400, Benefic 2 to 800, Aspected Benefic to 250, Aspected Benefic's region effect to 250, Aspected Helios to 250, and Aspected Helios's region effect to 150. So as we said before with a couple of other jobs, basically at 85 plus, they're really giving you the sense of power creep, and I think that's probably how it should be in the game. And finally, Enhanced Celestial Intersection, that's your last trait. This allows the accumulation of charges for consecutive uses of Celestial Intersection. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Astrologian then has wholly remained pretty much the same as it was before, but now it's just a diurnal Astrologian, and that's the long and short of it. I kind of expected they would go this direction personally when they first announced they were, you know, going to focus that as a pure healer, and that's really the only way I could have imagined them doing it without a complete overhaul. I don't think it needed a complete overhaul. I think the Astrologian fits in quite nicely. They've got some nice new spell effects and potency changes in favor of it being a direct healer, and lots of heals over time. There's a couple of nice tricks here and simplifications across the board. It should make it quite enjoyable in Endwalker. I'm still a little bit sore about the homogenization of cards and things like that still remaining, but you know, it's something that maybe they'll work on in the future. But this seems to be quite a functional and fun healer to play in Endwalker. So yeah, so far so good. Very cool stuff. Let me know what you think below. Take all those potencies with a pinch of salt because they're not final. Like I said, things can change, and they probably will. Yeah, and let me know what you think, and I'll see you all next time. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.